or if you are in charge of somebody that may be older than you, how is that going to affect them on a more personal level, and being aware and sensitive to that?
Yep, good points. So for those of you who excelled in school and you were kind of at the top of the class, sometimes it's hard to go from the top of the pack and then start all the way to the bottom. And what I would say is sometimes you just have to start somewhere and make the most of it and work your way up that ladder. Jonathan has a comment about like the abbreviation KK. Exactly. Mm-hmm. All right. Sometimes once you're adapting the environment, because it's such a hard transition, you're going to have feelings of, did I make the right choice? That's where mentors, professors, advisors, friends, you can really lean on them and help kind of sort out those feelings of, did I make the right choice? Is this the right career? And maybe it is, and maybe it's not. And that's where you then talk to a career counselor about your career decisions and your future career goals. Adapting to some of the job duties and tasks can also be a little bit difficult. Time management, again, you don't have that class schedule that you were used to making on your own. Now it's 8 to 5 and there's deadlines, and all of a sudden the deadline got moved up 2 weeks and you have to adjust for it. So maybe that means you're working more than 40 hours that week, you're spending your nights working on it, and you're not used to that because you're used to a professor who had to be held to a certain date because it was in the syllabus. Doesn't work like that anymore, a little different. It's also hard to get used to different supervision styles, and that's why we always encourage our students to ask questions in the interview. What is your supervision style of whoever's interviewing you? To understand, is this going to complement the needs that I want? So if a supervisor says I like to give a lot of training, mentoring, I'm supportive of professional development, I do annual reviews, so I do provide feedback, you're going to know whether or not that's going to be something that you're going to need. A lot of companies now do HR trainings and orientations, which is great. Didn't used to be like that. So right off the bat, you're understanding the mission and the vision and the strategic plan and the policies and procedures and kind of the do's and don'ts. And I hope every company does that. But if you're working for a smaller company, it's not going to be like that. Maybe they're just going to hand you their policy manual and call it a day. So then it's up to you to take the initiative to read through those policies and ask questions. There's going to be some opportunity where you're not sure that this is the right protocol. You're just going to have confidence and be a go-getter and ask questions at the end of the day if this is really what's right. So the next couple slides that Jessica and I are going to talk about really are focusing on how to make a great impression and how to be a little bit more credible in the workplace. I thought this statistic was pretty helpful. There's more than 1.5 million graduates that will be receiving their bachelor's and master's degrees this year. So you're one of many. And I didn't put that up there to scare you. I put it up there to kind of help you understand, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to make an impression? How are you going to make that transition and go from the, back up to the leader of the pack kind of thing? And so some things that you can do to gain some credibility in the workplace and to kind of rise is to really take initiative, but be cautious. Everybody likes a go-getter, but for the people that have been there a while, they're kind of not sure about it yet. Is the new kid going to come and be the, take over and make me look bad? So it's a really fine balance. I'll give you an example of a former coworker who on her second week of the job decided we needed to work on our mission and our vision and our values. And we were all a little taken back by that because in our mind, she didn't have a good understanding of what our mission and our vision and our values were at that point. She'd only been there week 2. And so you don't want to ruffle any feathers by taking too much initiative and being such the go-getter the first couple weeks. You want to tread some water, adapt to the environment, understand the dynamics, understand some goals, and maybe 6 months later implement some things. So I know a lot of people have like 30, 60, 90-day plans or 3, 6, 9 month plans. That would be something I would recommend. First couple months, observe, learn, watch, gain knowledge, meet people. Because right off the bat, people were upset that she wanted to redo all of our mission, vision stuff. So gotta be cautious. Definitely be a team player, and that's how you're going to meet people. That's how you're going to build those relationships and get noticed. I know we'll talk a little bit more about networking opportunities, getting involved in committee work, volunteering is really going to help you grow your credibility in the workplace. Professional development opportunities, again, you've been a student for X amount of years, and it's hard to kind of stop that learning desire. And a lot of companies really value when our employees want to gain the professional development and encourage you. But be cautious about that too. You just started the job and you're asking to take a class or go to conferences. They hired you to do certain jobs, so again, tread lightly with that once you're starting out. Going viral, again, you want to be so good that people talk about you and notice you in a good way, without stepping on toes, without making other people look bad, because you're that team player. If you're being the team player, but you're doing a great job on the team and maybe even leading the team, that's the ideal situation. Little things just to mention, being punctual. If you show up 15 minutes late to meetings or you're not there on time, your credibility is slowly diminishing. People think that they can't depend on you, that you're not going to be able to deliver and be there when needed. You want to be likable, accountable. If you say you're going to do something, follow through with it. The minute you start not following through, people aren't going to want you on your team, and you're going to get that reputation. So you have to start off on a good foot. I wrote accountable twice. Apparently
it's very important.
And then real quick, I threw this in there, and Jessica can chime in. Credibility, obviously you want to be professional. This is your career. The water cooler reference is, people kind of gathering in the break room talking about Desperate Housewives or whatever's going on in kind of the news of the world, or gossipy. You want to maintain a level of professionalism. You are there to make friends, absolutely, but you want to be cautious. You want to establish some boundaries. If you're up for happy hour every day, what is that saying about your professionalism or your priorities? And so just really tread lightly with kind of your image.
Yeah, and make sure, especially with the water cooler, that sometimes people can get gossipy and talk about other people in the workforce, other people at your company, that organization, and you want to make sure that you're not chiming in. And when that happens, if people start talking about others, it's almost better to find a way to excuse yourself because you don't want to be associated with that in any way. So again, it's maintaining that level of professionalism. Okay, so making a great impression, how you do that. We're going to talk about grooming and dress, some nonverbal communication, and then you and the internet. So one of my favorite things is 10 seconds is all it takes. to make a lasting impression. And actually, it's a little bit less than 10 seconds. But it's really important to remember that whether you're on a date or going to a job interview or you're on your first day at your new job, those first 10 seconds are really, really important. But then you've got people who say it's not about your looks, it's about what's on the inside that really matters. And that's great in principle, and after people get to know you a little better, that may change things, but in all actuality, people make snap judgments, and they make them based on how you look first. First is your appearance, and then your personality is what they start to judge next, and then finally your performance. So you have to pay attention to how you look, because that's how they're going to judge you. You want to make a great first impression. Here are some different levels of dress. If you are going into a professional setting where professional dress is required, such as banking, law, medical, engineering, insurance, sales, management, or accounting, then you're almost going to need to be in a suit or with a sport coat with slacks or a skirt, a collared shirt, conservative accessories, and women need to be wearing hose while men should be in ties. For business casual, slacks with collared shirts, tailored sweaters, coordinated accessories. It's a little bit more relaxed, but it's still professional. It's still not something where you can wear your tennis shoes, sneakers, your jeans, and t-shirts. That's not going to be appropriate. A few things to remember. It's always better to be overdressed than underdressed. You want to err on the side of being conservative in that dress, and then follow the norms of your office. If nobody at your office is wearing a tie on a regular basis, then maybe you can decide to not wear a tie. So now that you've got some ideas on how to look good, then we need to talk about how to tackle your nonverbal communication.
Jonathan had a comment that he agrees with your point, but he's always overdressed for interviews. What we tell students quite a bit is dress one step up. Mm-hmm. So if it's a little bit more casual, maybe you do business casual. And if it's a business casual, maybe you do professional dress. And then you also can dress for your day. Yeah. If you have appointments, if you have meetings, if you have presentations, maybe that's when you dress more professionally. If it's a research day or whatever it is, maybe then that's more of a casual day. And that's just you knowing your culture.
Also, Jonathan, if you feel like you're always overdressed for interviews, try doing a little bit more research on the company itself. If you're going into a marketing firm and you check out their website and everybody's in blue jeans and t-shirts, then maybe a suit is overdressed, and maybe just a nice pair of slacks and a sport coat with a collared shirt. But to me, suits are not overkill nowadays. I wear suits, gosh, at least once a week, if not more. You just look more professional, and being young and being a new graduate, you want to be taken seriously, and so wearing a suit and having that professional appearance in your clothing is definitely going to make you appear more mature and like you're taking this seriously. So now to just talk about your body language. Body language accounts for 50% of what we actually say. Studies have proven that body language and facial expressions are 55% of the meaning. That's what people are going to take into consideration. Your tone and the quality of your voice account for 38%, and the actual meaning of your words are only 7%. So if you are saying the most profound things in the world, but you're talking in a monotone voice, and you look like a homeless person, chances are people aren't really going to take you seriously. We all have our own unconscious quirks, and just being aware of what those are will help you change them. So if you have a tendency to sit and slouch in your chair with your arms folded in front of you, the best thing to do is remind yourself to sit up straight and to lean forward, just to be present and genuinely engaged in the conversation. And that's definitely going to help your body language. So some of the good things to do in body language is nodding your head, using hand gestures for emphasis, but be careful because you don't want to be one of those crazy gestury people who is just kind of out of the bounds. If you think of like a TV screen, if you keep your hand gestures in the like a TV box around your face, not a widescreen, that's probably a good way to judge whether or not your gestures are too big. You want to have good posture, smile. You want to blink at a normal rate. If you're blinking too fast or not at all, that's definitely going to put people on edge. And then you also want to make sure that you have a posture that says, I belong here and I'm important. And I don't know why the last one didn't get a bullet point, but cocking your head slightly is also a good way to show that you're engaged, but be careful not to do too much of that because it could be interpreted as confusion or flirting. Moving on. So the most important thing when going back to body language is just to be genuine, engaged, and excited to be there, and that's just going to help your body language overall. So now we're at you and the internet, so you online. It's important to represent yourself in the best light possible, so we want to make sure that you're looking good online. Remember, people make snap judgments, and they are going to make snap judgments about what's about you online. So please go and Google yourself. You need to look at websites, images, and videos, and just make sure that there's clean, clear information on the internet, and there's nothing that's representing you poorly. There's some tips, and Jonathan has another question.
So you're struggling a little with eye contact. I think that can be complicated. You just want to maintain like a comfortable eye contact. You don't want to stare them directly. Yeah. You don't want to. You want to maintain personal boundaries. So you look at people and you can look away, but nodding your head, I think, lets them know that you're listening.
Yeah.
So that should help a little.
Absolutely. And just getting used to it. The more eye contact you start to make with people, the better you're going to get at it. And then you can also judge by the person that you're speaking to. You're not asking too many questions, and I'm glad you just nodded. Anyway, so judge by the person that you're talking to. You can tell if somebody is uncomfortable with you making eye contact with them, so maybe that's the person you decide to do more nodding of the head and less eye contact. So just, it's different per situation, and just the best thing to do is to pay attention to what others are doing and kind of follow their lead. Now talking about Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook is very casual, and as a student, it has a tendency to have pictures of you partying and having a great time, and that's all fine, but your employers do look at your profile. People do try to find you on Facebook. I have, when I'm deciding whether or not to put somebody on a committee, I'm going to go check out their Facebook profile page. So it's really important to have your Facebook page clean and to be representing yourself in the best light. If you think of Facebook as kind of a casual Friday type thing where you still have to go to work, but you're representing yourself, showing a little bit more of your personality, but not the I'm in my pajamas and I haven't showered in 3 days personality. So make sure you're showing yourself in a great light and showing who you are as a person. LinkedIn, if you're unfamiliar with LinkedIn, it is a social media site that is for your professional side. So it's a reflection of you and your professional self. It helps people make connections, and they say that it helps you kind of map out your people connections and find job leads because, oh, well, I know Ashley and she knows Joe who knows somebody else who has a job opening, and you can kind of see that map, you can see that connection. If you're wanting to do more with LinkedIn, I highly suggest that. There's another webinar that was done a few months ago through Career Services, and that's archived. If you go back to their website, you can find that link. It's really important to have LinkedIn, especially if you want to have a strong professional career. So my suggestion is to get involved, develop a great profile page, but then also to maintain it. So participate in groups, check on your LinkedIn page at least once a week, and that will really help you with making connections and networking, which we'll talk more about here in a little bit.
And a couple things I want to add about LinkedIn is, when you first start a job and you're first starting to meet people, it's definitely acceptable to request the connection through LinkedIn. When you first start a job and you're meeting people, I would probably not recommend Facebook.
No.
Facebook isn't the professional avenue. Now, what happens if a coworker or, let's say, your supervisor asks you to be friends on Facebook? What do you do? There are ways to limit your profile in your setting. So maybe you do accept that friend request on Facebook, but you limit what you're showing them, or you don't accept their friend request. If you're having a bad day and for some reason you feel the need to vent on Facebook, work is horrible today, I'm so tired, another meeting, guess who's going to see that if you're friends with your colleagues? So you really have to understand who you're friends with and what you're saying about your job on those networking sites, because people see them. And people have been fired from their jobs because of what they put on these networking sites. So I really want you to be cautious about that.
There was, to just give an example of that, one of my past jobs, there was a waitress at a restaurant who decided that she wanted to say something on her Facebook page in her status that she was unhappy with some customers and tips and felt like she was the whipping boy at work or something. And it says, Jane Doe's name works at restaurant B, and then here's this comment about work, and that is actually considered slander. So you will be fired, and they have 100% grounds to do that. So try not to vent about your work, and if you're going to make it as obscure as possible, don't include the name work, or just don't use Facebook as your mode to vent. Call up your mom or dad or significant other or a good friend and vent about your work.
And Jonathan, I'm definitely not saying don't be friends with them on Facebook. I'm just saying if you are, just be conscious about stuff you're putting out there. Be conscious that someone's going to tag you wherever you are, and do you want your colleagues to know that you're at the Huey Lewis concert? It's not your professional brand that you want out there, and maybe it is, but you just have to be very cautious. So it's fine to be friends. I'm friends with many people here on IPFW's campus. I try to watch what I put on Facebook because I know that my colleagues are on there. So.
And good news travels fast.
Right.
So if it's something juicy, know that somebody's going to find out about it.
Yep.
So the next category is staying connected. So what IPFW has to offer you, what you have to offer IPFW, and then tapping into your resources. First and foremost, networking. Because you are an IPFW alumni or soon-to-be alumni, you have the opportunity to network with so many different people, with different backgrounds, different life experiences, and staying connected with the university is really going to help you do that. You hear it all the time about networking. We hear networking, you've probably heard it, 10 times plus in this webinar. So what does it actually mean? Networking is defined as an operating group or people that connect together to reach a certain result, or hopefully reach a certain result. So how do you, or what do you gain from networking? Networking is going to help you discover different things, different resources, different methods, different practices. and maybe some answers to problems that you may have or approaches to answering those problems. It's also going to help you with exchanging ideas. It also help you enlarge your understanding. It's going to help you or give you advice. You can have, or you could meet somebody who's just a wonderful mentor and give you wonderful advice about how to approach something at work, or what should your next step be. It's also going to give you inspiration on different things. You meet new people and get inspired, and then that helps out your job tremendously. It's also going to increase your visibility, and it could help you maybe get leads if you are looking for new clients or jobs or employment, different things. So networking, we hear it all the time, but it is really, really important to get out there and network with as many people as you possibly can. So what opportunities does IPFW have for you to network? These are just some of the events where you can network at IPFW. And I'm not exactly sure what's happening over there on part of the screen. Some of my fonts I don't think translated well. But there's the Mastodon Roast, which is happening in October, is a great event where you can come and just hang out. It's a free event for alumni, and come and chat with other alumni. We also have the Ice Cream Social. Our Young Alumni Ski Trip, which I'm really excited about, is going to be next year in January. So you'll get to meet some other young alumni from IPFW and go skiing. We also have the 4th of July rooftop party, so there's tons and tons of different events that are happening in IPFW. Also, new grads, don't forget to contact my office, the Alumni Relations Office, and sign up for a free year membership in the Alumni Association. So just email me. My email is going to be at the end of the slide if you want that membership, and we'll get your information. And then you will get all sorts of different ways of how you can attend these events and when, and all of that good information.
And Jessica, most of these events you're probably looking for committee members or maybe volunteers to help out with.
Yeah.
That's always a really great way to start out. You immediately already know people because you're involved in the planning and you're already making those connections. Because some of us aren't as excited about attending networking events, a little bit more introverted.
Yeah.
And so if you volunteer, you get on a committee, then you start to meet people, and then those connections can develop even more. So I definitely encourage you to volunteer.
Yes, please. We need volunteers. Another way that you can network, get to know people, is through the Alumni Association local chapters. Both Purdue and Indiana University have local chapters here in Fort Wayne, and those are the links to both of those chapters' websites. And they have committees and they have events. That's another way that you can get involved. And then Valerie, to answer your question about networking outside of Fort Wayne, there are local chapters across the country for both IU and Purdue. So if you graduated, depending on what school, if you have a Purdue degree or an IU degree, just follow those links and find the Alumni Association chapter where you're living outside of Fort Wayne. There's also different organizations, community organizations. I talk about that a little bit later, that can also help you get involved in areas outside of Fort Wayne. The next one is answer your question, what about online? Networking online, LinkedIn is probably a wonderful place for you to network, making connections, and then just search different ways. Just type in Google networking in Chile, and you would be surprised with what will pop up. Some of the other things that IPFW has to offer you is career planning. Ashley, if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, we have drop-in career counseling Monday through Friday, and we're here to assist with that. Valerie, we do Skype. We do obviously these webinar appointments, telephone appointments. So there's definitely different ways that we can help our alumni who aren't right here in Allen County.
Yeah. So that's a great tool to take advantage of. Our career services department is wonderful, and they really are here to help you. And if you ask for their help, they're going to do everything in their means to help you. So definitely seek them out if you have questions or need some assistance. We also have continuing education classes that can help you with your professional, your personal, your leadership development and enrichment. And there's a link for more information on that. Other ways that IPFW can help you is through travel opportunities. And many people may kind of chuckle at, well, why would I want to go on a vacation with a bunch of people that I don't know? Well, there's networking, so that's a great way. Also, it's going to help you monetarily wise, because it's a big group. Usually the vacations are less expensive, so you can travel the world on a little less money, or maybe more money to spend on souvenirs. And you're also going to learn a whole bunch. Every year IPFW does the State House Day, and that's free for students and alumni, and they take a bus down to the State House in Indianapolis. So you have 2 hours there to Indy and back to network and get to know other people on that bus. And like I said, we also have our Young Alumni Ski Trip. So if you're interested in that, there's a link for more travel opportunities through the alumni office. But there are also opportunities through different departments in different organizations, and they're always really, really fun if you let yourself have a good time. Another way that IPFW is going to help you is through discounts. If you join one of the alumni associations, well, if you join IPFW's alumni association, you're also going to be put in either IU or Purdue's alumni association, depending on where your degree is from. And if you want more information on that, there's a link for all the discounts. And they range from discounts on insurance, house, car, health insurance, to moving services and computers and technology. There's just a huge variety of different types of discounts. So what you have to offer us at IPFW, the most important thing is to maintain contact with us. You can follow us on all of the major social media websites. IPFW has its own page. We also have the IPFW alumni page, which is perfect for all of you new grads and seniors who are going to be grads, telling you about all of the different events that are coming up and networking opportunities, also sharing some of the wonderful news that IPFW has. And then we also on Thursdays, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we also give some random information, just some tips. We have Mastodon Tips Tuesdays, and then we do random facts on Thursdays. So things that are not IPFW related at all, but are definitely interesting, and you can put in your toolbox of good things to know. You can also subscribe to our alumni monthly e-newsletter, and that QR code will take you to sign up for that. So if you want to sign up for our e-monthly newsletter, that's a great way to get information about our events and kind of the same things that are happening on Facebook, just with more information. And then also, should any of your information change, if you should move, if you get a new job, whatever it is, just keep us up to date. And there's a link down at the bottom to update your information. Other ways that you can help is by volunteering. Like Ashley said earlier, you could consider helping with an event or sitting on a committee. You could also be a mentor for other students. Volunteering at an event, we've got the 4th of July rooftop party, the ice cream social, the Mastodon Roast homecoming. There's tons and tons of different events where we're always looking for help. We're always looking for our alumni to serve as representation of the university. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And then also save the date for the big event. This year, well, in 2013, we will be doing our second big event, and it's just a giant day of volunteer service to say thank you to Fort Wayne for and giving back to our community. So keep March 23rd on your calendar, and hopefully you can volunteer for that. Other ways that you can help is through financial support. And you may be thinking, I just spent the last 4 years or more giving money to IPFW, and you're telling me that they want more of my money. But in all honesty, IPFW is one of the lowest state-funded universities in Indiana, and only 50% of our operating budget comes from tuition and that state funding. So our donors are really, really, really important in keeping our tuition as affordable as it is. So no matter what you give, if it's $10, if it's $1 million, it's all much appreciated. Jonathan, to answer your question, absolutely, Riverfest is a great way to get involved. If you want more info on that, just shoot me an email and we can hopefully get you the connections that you would need to become a volunteer for that event. Some ways that you can give is by purchasing a class gift, which is an alumni brick, which is pictured down there, all those bricks. You get your name engraved on it, and that's going to be permanent on campus. So you will forever be represented on campus. You can also purchase a triangle on the Alumni Center donor wall. You could join the alumni pace setters, or you can drive with pride and get an IPFW license plate. More information if you follow those links. And because we're almost running out of time, I'm going to try to do this pretty quick. So just to kind of recap and talk about really important things, network, network, network. It's there's that old saying, it's not about what you know, but about who you know, and it's kind of changing now. It's not about what you know, but who knows you. So you want to make sure that you are staying connected with IPFW, with your department on IPFW, and also your friends. You also want to make sure that you're connecting with your coworkers, other people in your profession, and keeping your social network sites and your presence online professional, because that's just going to give you that extra edge. Another resource to tap into is becoming a mentor. Ashley, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, our office is establishing a Mastodon mentor program. So this is a really good way to get back involved and give back to those undergraduate students. You can mentor them and kind of help shape their lives in terms of their career goals, giving advice. And it's a new initiative, and so if you're interested in being a mentor, go ahead and contact me, and I'll get you signed up.
And some other ways, other resources, is professional associations. There are so many different professional associations. You just have to look for professional associations in your field, in your area. You could also get involved with associations like the Chamber of Commerce or YLNI, which is Young Leaders of Northern Indiana. You can also sit, kind of how Ashley said a little before, about sitting on committees. You could join committees at your office, at your work. You could join them at IPFW, just in your community, at different not-for-profits. And my best advice is to seek out positions on those committees that are going to help you showcase your different talents and help you network a little bit more.
And if you're new to a position and you've asked your supervisor to maybe work on a certain project to gain a new skill and it doesn't happen, for example, if you want to learn more about budgets or finance or I don't know, kind of basically more of like a treasurer role, then maybe it's joining a committee and then you're getting elected as the treasurer, and so you can gain skills in other areas, and it can be beneficial for your career in the long run, because when you have that next interview and they ask you, do you have experience working with budgets, you can talk about your committee work and how you were the treasurer there. Yeah. So think outside of the box if you're getting limited by your supervisor.
And then our last slide is finances and budgeting. Like Ashley said before, we're not financial advisors, and so we would hate to guide you in the wrong direction. So best thing to do is to meet with your benefits or HR manager, or actually meet with a financial planner. There are several different financial companies here in Fort Wayne and around the world that offer free financial advice. There's one that I've worked with before, West Point Financial. It's a free service. They have met with me, gosh, probably 10 times and haven't charged me a dime. So that's a great way.
Yeah, Nick Carter did a webinar for us a couple months ago from Northwestern Mutual Financial Network, and he covered everything from paying back your loans to, believe it or not, starting to save for retirement, which sounds scary considering you're getting ready to graduate or you just graduated, but those are now the things that you need to start thinking about.
So with 4 minutes left, does anybody have any additional questions about anything? I'll give you a few minutes to type in your questions. And then,
how can you listen to that older webinar? Valerie, if you go to IPFW Career Services website, under Mastodon Career Calls, you can see all of the webinars that we've done this past academic year, and it'll just be archived with the link, and you can listen to the recording. Great question. In addition to this webinar, will be posted as well. Yeah. You do have Jessica's contact information and my contact information. Any additional questions you have, any of the content we covered, resources, events that Jessica mentioned to get involved. Feel free to contact us. We're here to help. That's our job, and we really enjoy working with seniors and graduate students and young alumni, recent grads. So please feel free to contact us.
And don't feel like any question is, there are no bad questions. Also, one of the struggles that we have in alumni is our alumni are very humble, and so they don't want to share their success stories with us. And we do want to know about your successes. So if you do land an amazing job or just a job in general, please let us know. We love to hear about that, and we love to showcase you on Facebook or in our e-newsletter or on our website. So don't be humble and don't be afraid to contact IPFW. You've done a lot for this university, and you will do a lot for this university. So we are here for you all the time, and our goal is to try and help